Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome. My name is Bukola Jologbo, fondly referred to as Kiki, and I'm the founder of Joshua's, and where we raise boys who become world-class leaders, boys who are focused, enlightened, and well-developed to lead the world and their generation. And so in the past couple of weeks, we've actually been talking about the pitfall of perfectionism in parenting, particularly parenting our teenage boys. So today I want to be talking about how those perfectionism or those needs to be perfect, affect the mental health of our teenage boys. Yes, the mental health of our teenage boys. These days, a lot of teenage boys are struggling with mental health issues, particularly since the era of COVID. Particularly since the pandemic and lockdown, there's been this episodes upon episodes of mental health issues in our teenage boys. And when I tell you that, know that I have first-hand experience because I've got two boys and we went through the pandemic as well. So the question is, how do we help our children develop a healthy mental health or transition from the place of mental health issues to healthy mental health? What can we do to help them, even while we want them to achieve, even while we want them, to be perfect in what they do as teenagers? One of the things that is key is, first of all, defining what perfectionism means to you and in your household. And if you feel it's negative, in fact, I don't think it's good to want things to be right, things to go well. But when perfectionism is now the main thing we're focusing on, it becomes negative. So I think the first thing to do is put the need for that aside and focus on maximizing the strength of your teenage boy. So many years ago, I realized that even though, so I've got two children, two boys. One of them is a poet. He loves to write. He loves to write and read and read. The other one, just like his father, prefers anything numerical. So calculation, maths, as much as he loves maths, right? There are some kind of statistics he doesn't like because you have to read and write. But again, he has to do them, right? Because it's part of mathematics. And so when it became like, I began to feel that I was beginning to feel, oh, I can't do the statistics and everything. What I did was, first of all, make him focus on his strength, which is the numerical side of things. So first of all, focusing on what he knows to do and loves to do. Focusing on that aspect that, he can see that, no, in this, so I am good. And then letting him use the strength he gets from that area of strength and, plunge it into the other area. So when he wants to study, we do things like making him start with the ones that area of strength, the ones he loves to do, and then move on to the one that is not so very like a strength for him. So what I'm saying is, our children, every child has got something they're good at. Every child has got something they're genius at. The fact that he's not a genius in maths doesn't mean he's not a genius in English or biology or chemistry or physics. Or even drumming, swimming, and playing the keyboard. It's us finding that thing and helping them maximize their strength. Focus their strength on that area. Number one. Number two, getting involved in their activities. Understanding what it is they love and getting involved with it. My youngest son used to love basketball. He still loves basketball, but sixth form kind of made him slow down with basketball because he had to, six from A levels was like a big one, so he didn't even have the time to be going for basketball practice 3 times a week and all of that. So he kind of reduced it to one, so he stopped going for tournaments and all of that. But you know what? The fact that he loved it, I fell in love with basketball. I began to know the names of basketball players. I began to know the different teams there are, and I began to, just fell in love with basketball. That sometimes you'll be wondering, Mom, do you want to start playing basketball? And the same thing for the older brother. His was, musical instruments and football, but more of musical instruments and those hands-on that he would do and see the results on people. So I became interested. Before you know it, we got drums. I want him to play the drums for me to hear. That thing that they love to do, get involved in it and celebrate them in that area. A lot of the times we focus on the things that should be that are not. But how about trying to focus on the things that are and being grateful, celebrating those things that are to pull the things that seem like they are not. Another thing that we can do to avoid the pitfall of perfectionism in parenting, particularly in relations to the mental health of our children, is being a helper and a listener. I can't overemphasize the need to listen to our teenage boys. Now, unlike girls, boys are not, the average boy is not usually, might not be as expressive. Let me use that word. They might not be as expressive as the average girl, right? But they are expressive. They can be expressive depending on the environment and how much interest they perceive from us. Sometimes when my boys are talking and I'll be responding. One day they said, Mom, how about if you just listen? And I was like, boy, I'm listening. No, Mom, you're not listening. Instead of listening, you're thinking of what to say to us or what to say to me was one of them. So how about if you just listen? And guess what? I had to go and learn listening skills. So when they're talking, I am listening, I'm nodding. And when they pause, I iterate to just be sure that I've heard them well. I repeat what they've said. And okay, yes. And then I find out that when you repeat what they said and they hear you repeat what they have said or what you understood by what they have said, that gives them the confidence to go on. And they said yes. And then they talk. Most times I don't have a solution to what they're talking to me about. But just being there to listen, not be so concerned about giving solutions or responses. Be there to listen and not be judgmental goes a long way. It means a lot to them. So please pay attention to them and listen to them. So maybe you'll be asking, how do I know if my son is beginning to have mental health issues? How does he communicate with you and to the people around him? That's number one. Does he feel happy? And does he look healthy? Look, not necessarily just feel. Does he look happy? And does he look healthy? That's number two. Number three, how does he handle situations? Run away from situations, flare, snap at every slightest provocation, or deal with situations as they arise. Another one is, does he get involved in the family or just run away from everybody? Family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, does he get involved or run away? Does he talk about challenges or go, I don't want to talk about this. I can't be bothered. Now, does he feel he belongs to the family, community, church community if you go to church, or friends? Does he have group of friends? Or does he feel there's something wrong with everybody? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to begin to learn to talk and listen. Talk with, not talk to. And listen to your teenagers. If you're struggling, you could look for help. There are so many help, so many kinds of help out there that you can get for your teenager. So parents, it's not the time to ignore. It's not the time to want them to be the top, but the time to help them become healthy teenagers, particularly in their mind. A lot of us pay attention to physical health more than mental health. But one thing I've realized is the mental health, the state of our mental health actually determines the state of our physical health more than anything else. And we want our children to be healthy people or healthy adults when they grow up. So, parents, being perfect is good, but there are pitfalls in it. I'll see you next week where we'll be rounding up on pitfalls pitfalls of perfectionism in parenting. My name again is Bukola Julubo. Sorry, that went a bit emotional there, right? Even for me, because I work with a lot of teenage boys. I have two teenage boys, well, who are speedily becoming adults now in my home, and I know those moments can be tough for our teenagers if we don't pay attention and handle it right. My name is Bukola, and I'll see you again on this channel. Thank you.